everyone, to another episode of Diversity Matters, a series where we explore the people, the programs, and the partnerships that are advancing opportunity, creating access, and helping communities thrive. Today, I'm live from our Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Chicago offices and excited to be in the Windy City, where we're shining a spotlight on an extraordinary organization that has spent nearly 30 years transforming lives through sustainable homeownership, financial empowerment, and education. That organization is HomeFree-USA. And with me today is its founder and president, Marcia Griffin. HomeFree-USA has helped thousands of families, particularly in underserved communities, not only buying homes, but keeping them. With 0% foreclosure rate and powerful programs like the Developer Academy and HBCU partnerships, this organization is creating real pathways to generational wealth. Marcia, I'm so excited to have you on the program. Welcome to Diversity Matters. We are so
Well,
excited to feature you and the work that you do at HomeFree-USA.
Teresa, it is a pleasure to see you, to be with you, and to meet everyone who is in our audience today. Yes, you've said something really important. We've been actually in business 31 years. So it was 31 years ago when I started HomeFree-USA. And by the grace of God, we're still thriving. We still want to do more business. We want to expand. We want to grow, and we want to build partnerships.
And what, a lot of people don't realize is we've actually known each other that long, Marcia, because I actually knew you when we were doing partnerships back when REOs and the foreclosure market back in 2008. I was in real estate, and you all did such a phenomenal job helping so many people work out of foreclosures. You did such an incredible job working with the banking industry and helping people, work out those programs. So I really want to thank you, because we did a lot of work together back then. What inspired you to start HomeFree-USA back then, and what personal experiences have shaped your mission to serve families and communities?
Well, thank you so much for the question. And I'm going to be very honest with you. 31 years ago, my husband and I happened to be at an event with financial services leaders. These are presidents of banks and mortgage companies, on and on and on. At this conference, the whole idea was about building business, growing your business, how to get more production. And someone came on the stage, a leader in the industry, and said, we really need, now this was in the late 90s. Okay, so the African-American community at that time was the predominant minority then. And so the person stood up and they said, in order to get more business from African Americans, we need to go to the jails. Now, this is a true story. Yes, we need to go to the jails and maybe even the halfway houses and work with people there and inspire homeownership. One thing, Teresa, and all of our guests that are here, things come to us in different ways. And we really, really, really need to look at opportunities. And that's what I did then. After getting terribly upset by what they said, I said, look, this is an opportunity. These guys really don't know any better. And so I'm a good person. I think from a marketing perspective, from being who I am, being an entrepreneur, knowing the community, I think I can really do something to not only help the people in the community to become homeowners, and hopefully homeowners who can sustain their mortgages. This is what we focus on in Home Free, but also bring value, production, approvable loans, and sustainable mortgages to the industry. That was the essence of creating HomeFree-USA. I created quite a number of focus groups to really understand, why were people not becoming homeowners? What do you need? And I've done that through the whole 30 years, by the way. But it was at that first focus group that the name, the title, Home Free USA, came up. And the essence of this title is when you are home free, you are safe, you're secure, and you're better off. And that's what we try to do.
Marcia, I love that. That's beautiful. It really is. And you have always been a fighter and a champion for people to make sure that they are always, debt free and that they keep their homes. And in fact, one of the things that you do so beautifully that no other organization can really say is that you have maintained a remarkable 0% foreclosure rate. Explain that because people go through your credit program. So, in other words, people that are interested in bettering their score, right? Going through their credit program and then going through the process of understanding what homeownership means, because it's really important to really understand what the process of owning a home is.
That's
Because
right.
it's not just buying it, there's upkeep, there's maintenance, there's unexpected repair costs, right? What's the success? How have you been able, and what's the secret behind being able to help those families stay in their homes?
Teresa and all of our guests, let me just say that in Home Free USA, we don't consider ourselves miracle workers, but there is a formula to working with not only people, but partners. Our goal is to ensure that the work that we do brings value to our partners, who are our funders, who are our supporters, etc., and the people that we serve. We feel in Home Free USA that we can bring those two together. We can connect the mortgage companies, the servicers, the corporations, and the entrepreneurs who want to hire. I mean, these are all of the things that we work on in Home Free USA. We can bring those parties together in a way where everybody wins. So I want to put that out there. In terms of the 0% foreclosure, honestly, this is something that we preach and teach from day one through our whole home buying program. And let me just say that for us to buy a home, it's more than credit. Now, the credit is important. You got to be financially ready. But look, at the end of the day, people have to also be mentally ready. They've got to be motivated. There are a lot of people out here today who can afford to buy, and we know that housing supply is an issue, and we're all working on that. But people are still finding homes that they like. So this is something from the time they come into Home Free USA. And Home Free USA, by the way, is a membership organization. This is a lost leader for us. It's more a sense of belonging. And the membership is very low, but it gets people to feel that they are a part of something, that they are investing in themselves, and and it also requires us to not only help them and guide them and motivate them to get to approvable homeownership, but also we stay with everyone 2 years afterwards. So during the educational process, the guidance, the motivation, we teach and preach. Whatever you do, you got to pay that mortgage. You have got to pay the mortgage. You've got to stay in your home if you have a problem. And people do have medical problems. They get divorced. So many, they lose a job like we're facing right now. People need guidance. They need resources. On the servicing side, when people are delinquent, they're scared to talk to their servicer because they just don't want to hear what the servicer has to say. So in Home Free USA, we have a program called Mortgage Help for Homeowners. And that is where we have events where we bring, and these are all virtual events, of course, where we bring the servicer and the people in their portfolio that are delinquent, whether it's nationwide or in different regions. We bring them together. We are the moderator. We get people to understand that these services don't want your house. They're not trying to foreclose. We just need to work together. Guys, we understand. We've been where you are today. And so we, as the nonprofit partner of the servicer, we want to work with you. Please, and we set up meetings after that to get basic information. And also, let me just say, Teresa, in some cases, people will not be able to stay in their homes. Now, for us in Home Free, our focus, I will say, we're not miracle workers here. Some people have had to move. But when it comes from us, when we explain that, look, guys, you haven't paid your mortgage in 10 months and you had a, you had a good interest rate, your husband is no longer there or your wife is no longer there, you don't have help with the mortgage. Let's just be real. Do not have a foreclosure on your credit report. Let's start over. We're going to help you. And when people understand this, when we can put them in touch, Teresa, with people who have done this themselves, who have had to move and they started a new life and they did buy their house again. We want to make sure that no foreclosures occur. We want to make sure in our education that people understand paying your mortgage is critical. And if you can't, call us first. We're going to work with you. We're going to work with our partners to make sure that everything hopefully is good. So that's kind of how we work. And that's where the 0% foreclosure came.
Marcia, this is beautiful because you're staying with that client beyond that closing for 2 years. You're expressing, listen, things happen, we understand it. And I think a lot of times the client doesn't understand that the mortgager, the mortgage company, they don't want to take that. I mean,
That's right.
their best interest is for you to stay in that home. But
That's
if things do happen, you're working with them to say, hey, things happen. Let's get that home sold so that you are keeping, your equity that you've already got in it, if that's equity's been built, right? And that you are able to sell that home, right? And keep whatever that's been built. And if the equity's not been built, then you've lost nothing because you've been able to stay in that home and rent it or whatever, right? But you've not hurt your credit in any way. I think that is so
absolutely
beautiful. And working with the partners and developing relationships with both those clients so that they can actually keep an honor, right? Because that's the biggest thing, during the recession, we saw a lot of people, their pride, right? Because that was the biggest hurt, right? When we saw so many people lose their homes and how embarrassed they were, they came to us first, or to realtors, to say, I'm so embarrassed, that I'm behind in our payments. So, I think that's such a phenomenal job that you're doing. And thank you for that, because it really does help everyone in the process. And I know that y'all have done such a great job too with working with HBCUs, because starting young and putting those financial understandings in place is so critical, because credit card companies, banking institutions, that's when they grab kids right when they enter college, right? And make sure that they ramp up those credit card bills very early on. But y'all have done a great job in empowering this next generation to understand housing and finance. Tell me a little bit about what y'all are doing there, and what a great job you're doing in making sure that these young adults understand the biggest impact it can have on the opportunities they have for future wealth creation.
Let me just, before I get into our program, it's called the Center for Financial Advancement. This is where we're working with 16 HBCUs. I want to say one thing to you before I talk about that program. And that is, guys, as we know, a lot of people are losing their jobs now. for our realtors, this is an opportunity just to send an email out to your past clients. How are you doing? If you have any concerns, I mean, certainly in HomeFree-USA or any counseling organization in their local area would be a good resource for them. I mean, this is just a service. On the home buying side, I also want to say, for realtors, I know, guys, you all run into people who are not quite ready. Please consider partnering. You've got to develop a relationship, a partnership with a local HUD approved counseling organizations. It could be a counseling organization. It could be HomeFree-USA. We're national, but we do have 54 affiliates around the country. And those local organizations are on our website. Our job is to give you access to more people, is to prepare people for approvable home ownership so you can close those loans. So the counseling organizations are a tremendous resource to innovative and smart realtors and mortgage folks. And fortunately, we are so happy to be engaged with Home Services and Berkshire Hathaway and certainly Prosperity too. So that goes without saying. With the HBCUs, it is critical that we acquaint and expose young people, whether they're Black, Latino, white, it doesn't matter who it is. People have to be exposed to your industry, to the financial services industry. And it was really from that vantage point that I felt these kids at HBCUs, I went to an HBCU. My two daughters went to HBCUs. I went to Fisk University in Nashville. I have one daughter who went to Hampton in Virginia and another one, Spelman, in Atlanta. The reality is most kids in these HBCUs, and probably at most schools, they're not exposed to finances. They're not taught entrepreneurship. They're not taught a mindset change. And certainly where HBCUs are concerned, we felt, and I felt in starting this, that our kids needed to understand what it took, to perform, number one. The opportunities there are in being a real estate agent, the opportunities in being a loan officer, or hopefully being a bank president, or being the president of Home Services at some point. We have to get our young people, particularly young people who just don't have a lot of exposure to business. We've got to get them to think big, to understand opportunities in the industry. And we are very proud. And homeownership is the basis of all of our teachings at HBCUs. And Teresa, we have 12 of our HBCU, they're called scholars, of our Center for Financial Advancement scholars who have become homeowners by the age of 22.
Wow.
Yes, and these kids, look, they started as a freshman or a sophomore. They learned about credit, they learned about debt, they learned about student loans. How also we imbue in them the need to go into your community, change how people think, work with your parents. We have one student from North Carolina Central. Her mother had been renting for 35 years. And she became in fact, she calls with Prosperity. So
I love it.
So anyway, it's just a great experience. These are, guys, our future leaders. These are our future loan officers, mortgage executives, business leaders, realtors, etc. And we need to wrap our arms around them. And I tell you, the students who work in corporations that are part of our Center for Financial Advancement, they are outstanding because they are trained to be performance driven. And all of our kids are on a performance stipend. So we're able to tell who's working, who's not, who's motivated, who gets things done. And that's why and when corporations and when our partners hire these students as interns, we have an internship program called Learn to Earn, and then we've got our program throughout the year. And all of our partners are involved. We have 4 regional conferences with the Center for Financial Advancement. So we're doing good. We're empowering many, and we're placing them. Hopefully, many of them will become realtors and executives and loan officers and do a great job in our industry.
That is the perfect solution because we need young adults, we need more minorities that mirror the communities that we're serving to get into real estate. And what a beautiful concept to continue to enhance our industry with the work that you're doing. I love it. So what are some of the challenges? And I love that you're seeing that give back, that you've got individuals that are buying that first home and then helping their parents who have never been homeowners, that have always rented, get into their first home. I think that is wonderful. What are some of the challenges that you are seeing in that first home, buying that first home, or that you're seeing for the communities that you work with?
You mean with our HBCU students or just in general?
In general, in the work that you're doing.
The biggest challenge that most people have that we work with is down payment. They need down payment resources. They need to be educated in very simple language. They need to meet people who are like themselves, people who may have started off with a 500 credit score, and they worked with a counseling organization, went to a great realtor, went to Prosperity, and now their credit score is 690, 700. They worked hard on it, and here we are today. People really do need to know that people like themselves have gone through the waves of uncertainty, gone through not having enough money for down payment, not knowing who to work with. Trust is a huge issue. And that's why organizations like Home Free and other nonprofit organizations that you guys are working with, when they can bring you together with people that they know and vice versa. I mean, this is how business is done. It's about networking. It's about telling people about word of mouth how great Berkshire Hathaway, realtors are. I mean, so we've got to kind of come together today more than ever, which is why we have our Reaching Millions conference to do just that.
And I love it because you do have a lot of communities, lenders that come in and really educate everyone about the programs that they do offer that really help, especially with the down payment programs. And that's where our realtors really need to come in so that they can learn about all the programs that are available, especially in the communities they serve. I think that's really, really important. I know that you have a phenomenal program with Developer Academy.
Yep.
What kind of opportunities has it created, and a little bit on how that program works? How does it support the community transformation? And I really want to learn more about it.
Well, you used a great word, transformation. That is our goal, to transform our properties, in particular communities, and help people to be better. In 2024, Freddie Mac, who I've been working with Freddie Mac and many other partners for the last 30 years, came to me with this idea of how do we fix housing supply, and what do we do to help aspiring and small home owners, developers who want to develop, but they don't really have the knowledge or the experience. And look, when you are in the construction business, the development business, what you don't know will hurt you. I mean, there's no question about it. So quite frankly, in 2024, we launched the Develop the Developer Academy. And all of this is on our website too, Teresa. Develop the Developer is it's a gathering, a 5-day class. that we have, which kind of spurs through the weekend in different cities. And we advertise for people who have done a little bit of development or who want to become developers. So we started in Baltimore. Baltimore is ripe for this because Baltimore has a lot of vacant housing.
Yes, I did.
In the first week that we put this on, we did some interviews, television interviews, etc. In our first week, we got 86 applications.
Wow.
And the next week, we got 103. Now, these are people who have an interest. I don't know that all of them have done any kind of development, but people really do want to change and improve the neighborhoods that they lived in or are living in now. They want to do good for their city, for their county. So Develop the Developer, as I said, it's a 5-day academy, and it continues throughout the year too, because what we found is that in addition to people wanting information about how to develop properties and how to make them, we've been doing this ourselves for 17 years, developing properties around the country. Now we're focused primarily on Baltimore because we want to make this a model. But so what we found was many folks who came to us who perhaps had put their own money in developing small, couple of properties or whatever, they never work with a lender. They don't know about trying to get a loan. They don't have financial statements. And so these are things that we are working with them on. We're now reaching out in 2026. We're reaching out to pastors, to faith-based communities across the country. They've got a lot of land. And we want to make sure that people get the best deal, that they're not being ripped off, and they know what they are doing. So that's what Develop the Developer is all about.
I love it. I
website.
love it. And I know that many other, like NARAB is doing something similar where they do that academy. And I know you partner with a lot of organizations because I know that's part of what Home Free has always done.
Yes.
And I know that's really critical. You partner with government or organizations. Tell me a little bit about the support, how has that supported your mission and what does that collaboration look like? For you, why is that important? Because I know you and I even talked to, about the Baltimore project. I know that there was something that we were trying to do. Tell me, how has that helped your organization? How does it work with, the lenders that you work with the government agencies? How can we also help you through your mission?
Wonderful. Partnerships are key to our success. There is no way that we can help the thousands of people that we do without strong partnerships. That's number one. Number two, our goal is to ensure that we are delivering the value, the things that matter to our partners, to the communities. And we are in a position where we would know not only how to deliver them, because marketing is a strong point for us. At the end of the day, look, I don't care how good your product is. If people don't know about it, if they don't know you, if it's great when somebody can introduce you to someone else, we then have something going. But if they don't know about it, haven't heard, you just have a good service and a good product. So we've got to get out there. We've got to market. We have to market together. Now that is really important to us. We've got to market together. And clearly, the reality is any kind of support, whether it is in kind, whether it is financial, whether it is in person, look, all of this matters because in business, it is about partnerships. That is the only way to get things done. And one of the things that I just encourage my staff and our affiliates, as I said, we have 54 affiliates. These are nonprofit organizations that's doing phenomenal work all across the country, and they are on our website. But look, we have to make sure we're getting the word out. We have to work with realtors. As nonprofit organizations, we're not a realtor. We don't have your expertise. We're not a loan officer. We don't have the expertise that Prosperity does. We have got to work together. Our job is to connect you with more people, get the word out, tell people how great you are, especially if we feel that way, and that's really important. Build relationships and move it forward.
Well, Marcia, one of the things, and you touched on this, and I have to give you a lot of kudos. You mentioned how important that is, but you also have to have the credibility and the reputation, and you all do. And that's really important. You've been in business a long time, and you have a credible, very reputable, organization. And I just have to tell you that is something we've always known about Home Free USA. For those that are wanting to know about, I mean it. I sincerely mean that.
It's also how you treat people.
Yeah, it is. And you do. And kindness, heart, genuine authenticity, and really caring about the people in the community that you serve. One of the things that I really want to know is for those, because you talked about your partnerships, the 50 plus organizations that are part of your network. Tell me about where people would find that information of where's your, how do they access your website?
Okay, great. We are at HomeFree, HomeFreeUSA, all one word, .org. www.homefreeusa.org. That's the Home Free website. There's information about our HBCU program, information about our affiliates, and information about our upcoming conference, Reaching Millions.
And we're going to talk about that next because that's an important conference that you hold every year. And this year, I'm excited to know that Justin Messer, who is a CEO of our Prosperity Home Mortgage, is going to be one of our featured keynote speakers at, I think, the luncheon. And I know Justin, and we have to say a shout out to April because April's one of my besties. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Love her to death. She does such an incredible job for us on the community lending side. And, and I know that Justin's going to be speaking. Tell me a little bit about what that represents for Home Free USA and also a little bit about the conference.
Wonderful. From September 14th through 17th in Denver. And all of you guys, you're invited. Any realtors that live in Denver, contact April because April she has comp tickets. Look, we bring people together. This is a business development, professional development, and personal development experience. It's more than a conference because our objective here is to introduce community counseling leaders, faith-based leaders, etc., to people like Justin. We want them to know Prosperity Mortgage. April has been with us for many years, and we appreciate her. Once again, when people can bring other people together. We love Prosperity. I've been working with Prosperity for many years through April. And so this is our opportunity to meet Justin. I was very, very pleased and honored to have a great, friendly, and formal conversation. He's going to bring tips on where IMBs are going. What are the trends? How do we wade through this storm that we are in today and make sure that at the end of the day, we are all better off, we're all more productive and more profitable. So Justin will be with us at Reaching Millions. Reaching Millions is on our website. We would love to have you. And as I said, guys, look, the speakers are phenomenal, and they're not just industry speakers. I mean, we've got folks talking about your purpose and how to increase production in your company, marketing the heirs property, your destiny. Oh, it's just phenomenal.
It is. I took a peek at all of your keynotes, all of the speakers, the agenda. It's amazing, Marcia. It really is. You've got some great content and some wonderful, wonderful sessions. So, again, kudos to you. The conference is going to be great. And the biggest message, I think, is that you do team up with sales professionals, loan officers. You don't compete with them, you actually bring them in. Your job is to really educate your, buyers, getting them through the process. You line them up with individuals like our companies to help them through the process. And that's the best news of all. And so I think, I really am so excited to have Home Free USA as a partner of ours. We are really happy for all the work that you do. Marcia, I'm so happy that we got together and that we were able to feature you and the work that you do. It's incredible. You've been such a staple for our organization, for the community, for the people that you've served, for all the work that you've done. One of the last questions that I always ask, because I always want to know a fun thing about you. Tell us something that nobody knows about you, something that perhaps isn't on your resume that maybe would be a surprise for others to know?
Well, now that is a good question. And let me also say, as we bring this to a close, I am honored to meet all of you who are in our audience, honored to work with home services and do more with you guys. Same thing with prosperity. We've got to make things bigger and better for many more people. Well, one thing that most people don't know about me is that I lived in Nigeria for 10 years. I lived in Nigeria for 10 years with my parents at that point. And but my parents were with the State Department, my father. And so we moved around and lived in Nigeria and Tanzania and Uganda, on and on and on. And I will say, as with my father being in the government, he swore, Marcia, do not become an entrepreneur. You need to just get yourself a good government job. But here I am, an entrepreneur, and we're all doing great, and we're just happy about it.
I love it. Did you like being in Africa? Did you love Nigeria?
I loved it. I loved it. And you know
How
what?
old were you when you?
Travel a lot with I also have four kids, and they work with me in Home Free USA. So I'm so grateful that they are not only a part of our work, but Teresa, I just have a wonderful staff, and
You
that's
do.
thing
You
that
really
I am
do.
so grateful. We call ourselves Angel. My angels are the angel to me, and they're angels to your customers and angels to the world. So we're working together to just make life better for our partners, for our people, and also for our properties.
I have to give a shout out to Sandy because she made this really smoothless. Just
Yeah,
she did a fantastic job getting everything together. So again, Marcia, thank you so much for all that you do. I really appreciate you being on Diversity Matters and for the powerful work that Home Free USA does and for your vision, for your leadership, and all that you've done over the years. This organization is really a national example of what it means to really meet people where they are, provide them with real tools for success, and also walk alongside them on the journey toward financial strength and homeownership. So again, thank you so much for all that you do.
pleasure. Diversity really does matter. Thank you.
It does, right? So to our audience, if you'd like to learn more about Home Free USA or attend their upcoming Reaching Millions Homeownership Summit, visit homefreeusa.org and follow them on social media. And as we say on this show, home ownership plants the roots of generational wealth.
Absolutely. That's
Before we go, I'd love to invite you all to join me on the next Women Who Lead series episode, which airs on September 10th. And then this show, Diversity Matters, will also air again on September 24th. So we'll join us for another great episode. And thank you for joining us today. And see you again on our next Diversity Matters. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye, Marcia.